Okay, sorry, that's the bell. Hi guys. We just finished our unit. Not our unit. We're still in our Monotype monoprint unit. But you just finished your painterly monoprints. So I've got one here. If you haven't printed your ghost print yet, you need to. So Amelia has done a really cool portrait. And then this is the plate. So she's going back and reworking that. So again, just you've got your dish soap on there. You don't need to redo that part. You just need to rework the ink that's left on the plate and try printing it again. I know that her plan is to like collage a different background here and work with that. So nicely done. We are going to bump it up a notch by moving on to these stencil prints, and it's called pochoir printing. Pochoir if you're from Zurich, or just stencil. That could be what it is, but pochoir is how you say it in French. I think I'm saying that right. And I think why I'm in love with this process is because you can keep using your stencils and just keep getting a really different results to happen. So you guys have been at home the last 2 days on your virtual learning days cutting stencils. That's a ghost print. That's why it's a lot lighter and kind of chaotic looking. So all these amazing stencils that you cut are going to get in play when you come to class tomorrow. And if you've been sleeping till noon and watching Vampire Diaries season 10 instead of cutting stencils, then you're going to come to class and do nothing, I guess. I don't know. I'll give you mean looks and you'll cut stencils in class. But if you're ready to go, then we're ready to go. So I'm going to minimize the me and demo from here. So the stencils, again, are just cut from your regular oak tag I gave you in your Osh kit. You can use the carbon paper and transfer method, and you just need to bring your stencils in. Just a reminder is that I'm really looking for 1 or 2 wow stencils that you spend kind of a lot of time on, and then some that are more like supporting characters in your supporting cast in your composition. So the things you're going to need for the actual printing process, you're going to need the paper we're printing on, which this is just white oak tag paper from Blick. It's a heavier, stock paper. You're going to need a printmaking press. So you can't really do this one from home. That's all right. The printing part we do here at school. If you're on quarantine, we can print them from school, or just bring your stencils when you come back, and then you can start working on the linear transfer or one of the other printing processes. So I got my stencils. I've got a plexiglass plate. Some of you have large ones and some of you have these small ones. It's get what you get and don't throw a fit. For sure. And you've got your platen and your brayer and your inks, whatever color you're using. I'm just using these Blick water-based block printing inks. You've got perhaps some brushes that you might need if you're going to do any painting on your stencils. And then the star of the show, which is just dish soap. Before you begin, lay out your composition dry before you start inking things so that you know what your arrangement is going to be of your stencils and where stuff's going to go. Remember what we've talked about in the past with overlapping being an important part of this process. Boy, this one don't make no sense. It's okay. There, that's what I'm going to do. Maybe one more circle back there. And so compositionally, I'm excited about that. That's what I'm going to work with. Now we start inking. Before you ink anything, you get it all soapy. So I'm going to start with each stencil and layer a dish soap on it. The dish soap's function is to release the dry ink onto the wet paper. So dish soap, dish soap, dish soap. All of my stencils have a little bit of paint on them, but they were all just oak tag at some point. No science to the dish soap. Ooh, bubble. Oh, oh Carson. Soapy, soapy. If you'll notice, I'm soaping them the side I want them printing up. So printy side up. That one's messy. Process. All right, now I just need to make sure my base plate has a layer of soap on it as well. Pretty thin, if you can get it to do that. And then I'm just going to charge off over here on the side. Will not be doing any washing today. I want to have a black background on this. And you guys know me, I'm normally pretty particular about how you ink your brayer and getting the right sound and velvety texture. But for this, it really doesn't matter. So I am just going to ink this up. We never use color straight out of the tube because that is not what artists do. No. And I'm going to fade into kind of a blue down here. And you'll notice it is kind of sliding around on the soap, but I'll get there eventually. And then the giant's going to be kind of covering up this corner over here, so I'm not so worried about that. Okay, for now, I'm just going to set my base plate over to the side, and it's going to start drying a bit. And now it's time for me to ink up my individual stencils with their little layer of soap. So I'm not going to be washing my brayer. So you'll see here on my stencil, sometimes they have a tendency to roll or get stuck. You just kind of hold it down. Carson, my fingers are dirty. Why'd you sign up for printmaking? Okay, inky. Now I am going to arrange it on my plate. Bring that over here. Stack things the way you want them to be for the print. Okay. A little bit of that. Okay. Now, if we were in class, I would tell you to hit all this with the hairdryer so that it was all the same amount of dry. But for my demo, I'm not going to do that. Okay, this goes face up onto the plate. And then I'm going to walk across the room over here. So I'm going to angle the camera and maximize it so you guys can see what's happening over at the sink. I'm going to try to remember to talk loud. And so stay tuned for awesomeness ready to happen. You can see my... And then grab your white oak tag. You guys see that over here? And you're going to dip it into the water, and it just needs to be thoroughly wet on both sides. And then bring it over to the blotter, which for the blotting paper, I'm just using more oak tag. And get it blotted a couple of times so that there's not a lot of shine on the paper. So it's pretty matte, but also damp. You lay the damp paper on top of the dry stencil and roll it through. And I'm just going to check here. It looks good. It's got those white lines the way that I like. And so voila, there's my print. Oh, I wish the hand would have shown up a little better, but it's still very cool. And now I have all these stencils that I can move around, re-ink, rearrange. There's also often a very cool ghost image that happens. There might be too much similarity in here, but honestly, I'm going to take this little house here. He was pretty inky. And ink this again and see what lifts off because it's going to be cool. And then I have a bunch of stencils to share with you, and we can start sharing with each other. So I'm asking you to do 3 cool stencil prints. And again, spending like hardly any money at all. Oops, I forgot to do that. Hardly spending any money at all. And we are going to have something fun to create. Thank you so much. Bring your stencils to class. Bye.